Welcome to Everyday Entrepreneurs Everywhere with your host, Chris Parker.
Hello, this is Everyday Entrepreneurs Everywhere, and I am Chris Parker. I'm here with Pedro Frias, who is coming in from Portugal, and I have been so looking forward to this conversation as I have known him from years ago, and he played a character, Artur, in a movie I was involved in called The Right Juice, and you can watch The Right Juice if you go to the show notes. But Pedro has evolved radically into a new role as a coach and a spiritual coach. So welcome to the podcast, Pedro.
Thank you.
Welcome. Would you please share with people what you're doing now and really why are you doing what you do?
All right, good. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Lovely to catch up with you after all these years, after the Right Juice experience, which was wonderful for me. Throughout my years, I was a musician when you met me, and also always connected to arts and acting and all these kind of things, creative work per se, artist work. But I always had this spiritual quest in my mind and my heart, and to see the world in a different view. So I studied very early, like when I was like 20 years ago or more. I stopped having meat and I started to have meditation and other things that came about just slowly throughout my life. And I was always devoted to that. And some people always looked at me like, oh, you could be a priest, you could be my psychologist, because they could see, they could talk with me, and I would help them see the world or their lives in an enlightening way so that they would feel different. So throughout the years, then 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, when I was questioning what should I do, because the music business was like changing, and I had a recording studio, but that was not going so well. And I was questioning what to do with my life, honestly. And that questioning came about. I questioned everything. And then after a while, I was like, what should I do? Because I was not feeling it. But I never thought in my mind that I would be doing anything except music. For me, it was like from day one, I'm going to be a professional musician all my life. It was like something I always seen like that. But then in 2015, I encountered a course of hypnosis. Oh, yeah, maybe I should do this, And then I started seeing videos from Dolores Cannon, which was a famous hypnotherapist from the United States. And I connected there with that energy and what she was saying. And I felt really passionate about everything she was saying. So I take this course in 2015, which basically teach me how to make people stop smoking and all this kind of clinical hypnosis, very, very direct. And then after a few months, I went to take the course from Dolores Cannon. And I remember my wife, because this was November, and my wife is a singer. And so we were both musicians. And in Portugal, in the south, the life of a musician is like you live earning money in the summer months, and then in the winter you just slow down and you live from what you have accumulated. And at this moment was November, and I was saying to my wife, I'm going to take another course. This one, the Dolores Cannon one, which was €1,000 course for an online course of and she was like, what, another course? And I have to do it. I just have to push forward. I have to see where this is going. And then after I'm taking this course, I was so mesmerized with the technique, wonderful technique, regression technique, and all the rest of it. And I went to the guy who taught me the first course, the classical hypnosis course. And I said to him, look, you have to see this, because this is amazing technique, blah, blah, blah. So I went to Lisbon and I went to practice on him the technique. He became so in love with it that after 3 months, and I'm talking about this all happened in a 6-month period. It was just a fast changing events, one after the other. And then after 3-4 months after that, it was, let's do a course together. Let's do that, because he met me and he recognized in me this spiritual knowledge from everything I read from all the kind of energy, Reiki, just astrology. You could mention anything. I've already read it some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wanted to do a course with me, and because this element of past life regression was more spiritual thing, so he thought for him, which he's a psychologist and more of a clinical viewer of the things and hypnosis, that we together could do something. And we did. And for like 4 years, I was teaching hypnosis in the country. We even went to Dublin to teach the hypnosis course, which
Mm-hmm.
was wonderful. Then slowly I started to put in place, with the experience I was gaining from teaching and teaching groups and peoples in Lisboa, Porto, and Algarve. I was starting to have this thing inside of me of teaching my own view of things, and my own hypnosis. Because then on my space where I am now, my office, I have people that I see like every day. I have so many hours of doing hypnosis one-on-one, that then, as the creative person that I am, I started to include more and more and change techniques and study. And suddenly I had this new technique that I now call quantum hypnosis or something like that.
Quantum hypnosis. Okay.
Yeah, I have the concept which is called quantum spirituality.
Yeah.
Which is a concept that we use some light forms of hypnosis to help people change their realities. And I have this quantum hypnosis technique, which there is a lot of quantum hypnosis modalities throughout the world. But in Portugal, I say quantum hypnosis, but you could say quantum hypnosis is fine.
Can you, I'm so interested, can you go back for the audience and talk a little bit about past life regression? If you can spend 1 minute on, because that seems to be the basis of what you're working on, I think. And does that need to be explained right now, or would you rather go to quantum hypnosis?
Well, I can explain past life regression very fast.
Yeah.
Dolores Cannon found a way, or created a way of putting people on trance, and she would take people to three different past lives, but then it would make people go somnambulistic. And that thing implies that you are actually asleep, not remembering what you're saying, almost like you are incorporating some other entity. And she said that you could access the subconscious mind or higher self, if you are familiar with this terminology. And then you could get information for the client and promote healing. And this was like something that started. She had like a 2, 3, 4, 5 year waiting list just for you to see how famous she was in the area, in the space of past life regression and stuff. So I learned from her, but she was already deceased, from an online course. And what I did was, because past life regression has some limitations for some people that cannot put themselves in trance enough. Actually, we put them on trance, but they go there almost on their own through the technique, right? So some people cannot access it. So sometimes the session fails. And because of that, in my work here, I started to develop a way that I could put anyone in some lighter trance so that they could experience a change as well, without going to this very deep hypnosis where you are actually asleep and you are somnambulistic. It's really the right name is getting people somnambulistic. I do it, I teach it. I have a course in Portugal that I now teach with just past life, plain and simple, where you get people somnambulistic and really asleep to incorporate the higher self. I've seen some very wild things happening in my office regarding healing and getting information that client could never get that information. Sometimes I even do like validation, which is I have someone having a question and then I put this one in trance and I make the question to their higher self, see if they can reply to the question, and they do, which is amazing. Like these people, how can this person be replying to that question? But this is just the fascination of this world that I'm now in. But back to the quantum hypnosis story, the quantum hypnosis concept is made to make people change their realities. And it has a little bit of law of attraction with mechanics of the universe, with quantum physics, which I do explain. For starters, it's like if the universe works like that in the microparticle, then there is a way you as a complex body can also shift reality once you change your vibration. Basically, this is quantum spirituality and quantum hypnosis. And so to sum up, yes,
so
please.
Pedro, you mentioned law of attraction and vibrations. Are you talking like Abraham Hicks type law of attraction here? Is that what you mean?
Yes,
Right.
Abraham Hicks, Bashar, even Bentinho Massaro, which is, I don't know if you know him, but he's a Dutch guy that now lives in the United States, also teaches in that space.
Yeah.
There is very similar, but in my case, I have a technique of hypnosis that can make it happen faster, which is like instead of you being listening to Abraham Hicks and then trying to apply it in your life, I go there and also like I change in your subconscious mind your ideas and your beliefs so that it goes faster into that desired reality.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically that's the concept that I'm doing now. And so I've been running my business like that. I stopped having music or playing music altogether. And I am seeing people that phone me, want appointments for me to just help them with anxiety, depression, and mostly those kind of things. With smoking, that's where my business here locally has been thrived. I have a business called Hypnoterapia Algarve, which is the office that I have here with some other girl, a psychologist that also does hypnosis that works here in the same place. And I have this spiritual coach thing where I teach spirituality also online now after the coronavirus pandemic and quarantine. And basically that's it. I think that's it.
That's it.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, the story doesn't actually surprise me at all, because I remember when we were working together on the film project, what I remember is you always had this sort of calm, joyfulness about yourself that was inviting for people to trust and engage, and it just felt really good. And so when I was watching, being near you and interacting with you, so when I've been watching over the years, these things evolve, it was, for me, it didn't feel or sound surprising at all. So that's how you got into this over the last couple of years. I'm curious if you can look down on your business a little bit and maybe share a little bit about, not everyone knows what past life regression is, and not everyone knows what this quantum hypnosis is. How do you establish trust with people who have these depression or anxiety issues that they choose to become your customer? That is that sometimes hard, or does that always go very easily?
Well, the best thing about any business is when it gets to the mouth-to-mouth publicity, which is when someone that I help goes away and says, "Oh, this guy really helped me, I was feeling depressed and the guy really helped me with 5, 6, 7, 8 sessions." So that's what's happening for me, basically, because I also do publicity on Facebook, to get more clients in, because it's just the way. But I don't do much. Actually, I'm spending, this is true, on the hypnosis business. I'm spending €2 a day, which is nothing compared to what you know. For my courses, I have to push much more. But this is just to explain how it works. It's been working just to mouth, because people go away. But now, the past life regression in this part of the business, it's not actually a thing. Because in order to fix someone that comes with depression or anxiety, I rarely recommend going to a past life regression, because I think that those clients don't have the basis of their psychological structure. They are completely off. They have a relation they don't like, they have a job they don't like, or they are completely with panic attacks and stuff like that. So this is like the base of the structuring of the human mind and the personality of the person, which is, okay, let's work on your foundation first. So I don't do many past life regressions here. I do teach them, and sometimes I do it in a course of 5, 6, 7, 8 consultations I have with one client. But it's not like I'm doing it because I don't find it to be very beneficial. it can be just like that person that's thirsty, that has a glass of water, but then goes away and still doesn't know how to get water. It still doesn't have water. So I just fix it in a way that I can say, okay, this person knows how to get water from themselves first, and now I can get them something to drink. So that's basically my indoors business, which is fix people one-to-one.
No, nice. And I've got a question about past life regression, if you allow me, please, because I've read the Many Lives, Many Masters series. That was my first introduction to past life regression, and the basic premise of that is that your essence, your soul, your spirit repeats, physical manifestation in order to continue to learn and evolve until it reaches a certain higher state. And then between these lives, you go to wherever you call it, the universe or heaven or whatever you choose to call that. So on one hand, one expert has said that this is really a series of evolutions through multiple lives. And on the other hand, Esther Hicks, who channels, I don't know if she doesn't call it channeling, but is connecting through source and universe to tell people about law of attraction, etc. She was adamantly saying we are not here to learn, we're here to create, and she actually advised not to do past life regression therapy. What's your perspective on this, and why would someone seek past life regression therapy as opposed to a quantum hypnosis approach?
All right, that's a very good question, Chris. And you just reached like the specificity, some specific part of this area that I'm in. So let me just reply into three different views. One, which is this Buddhism view where you have past lives and you evolve, or spiritual. We call it the spirits cult, or I don't know how to call it in English, but it's just those that believe that we are spirit and we evolve from the animal to the enlightened beings throughout lives. Okay, like Buddhism believes that you are here evolving, like past life regression. So this is one vision, but if you think like that, then it means that you are searching. You're going to see someone like me, and you are searching for your problem somewhere in the past, which is a problem right away. Because why are you searching for your problem? Oh, maybe I have to do a regression because I want to find the explanation why my life is so messy. And I understand why Abraham Hicks says that, because in a way, I also believe in that, and I do stall people sometimes from having past life regressions before I fix them the ground, because past life regression can be just one thing that you look at it and it doesn't change anything, and you have really to know what you're doing. And even the technique itself needs to be well done. Now, if you know what to do, if you do it well, and if that person is prepared, then you can help them shift and evolve. But the solution is always to put the person looking forward. Even if you have someone depressed, we say here that if you are depressed, you have too much past. If you are anxious, you have too much future. So you have to live in the present. So if someone is looking too much in the past, is going to get depressed. Past life regressions, okay, maybe not, but I will say you have to put the person looking forward. Now, I do believe that we are here to create, but I also believe that we have an essence or a resonance inside of us that makes us go after some things and not other things. If I'm passionate about one thing in one area, and if I want to express myself through speech like I'm doing now, if I'm doing anything like that, it's because my essence is pulling me in that direction. So I'm not creating on my own in my vision. I'm creating with my own accents that I already bring. Now, in the different view, just to finish this past life, different specific views. If you look at what Bashar says, for example, Bashar, which is kind of the Abraham Hicks philosophy, he says that you are not living in any past life at the present moment or future life. You're just connecting to this other past self people that you're not, it's not you, because you, Chris, is just you. It can never be another Chris. That guy is another guy. in the past life is another guy, but you are connecting to these other selves in order to promote downloads and uploads from what you need. And that's an all different view altogether. Just let's think about it. There is no time, there is no past or future. It's all parallel lives. That's what Bashar says. And then you are connecting to these other past selves, but it's not you. It's just someone else that you are connecting to. But Bashar says one thing that I really like, which is human mind always think that it's this or it's that. Oh, it's past lives or it's not past lives. And Bashar himself says that we have to think about everything as it's this and it's that. Not it's this or that. It's this and that and that and that. Because reality is so full of different perspectives that you can see them all and try to work the client or the person in the best way you can using any perspective, and that's what I like. Sometimes I think like Freud in my business, really classical psychology, like, okay, let's see this as child development, okay, this works. But then I see it as a quantum perspective of parallel resistance, of parallel lives resistance, that works too. So it's so open,
Wow. So what would be a valid reason, in your opinion, for someone to seek past life regression therapy?
Well, one very clear is people that have afraid of death. And this was recent in my business. There was this person that she was afraid of death, afraid of dying, afraid of anyone dying. And then I took her to a past life and I made her experience death. And once you see that through the regression, which is so releasing, everyone says that. Everyone says that when they are dying in the past life regression, oh, it's so good, It's just this feeling of lightness going through this very beautiful light, And that's one of the reasons sometimes you can do. And you can actually make a diagnosis of what's troubling this person in the unconscious mind through past life. Because you can also read from a past life if you know how to do it. It's all readable as well, which is another complex, much more difficult, because you really have to understand Freudian analysis of dreams and stuff like that. But if you can see it, that perspective, that's also very valid, because I have this colleague of mine, that's a guy which is a psychologist, and we had done past life together courses, and it was amazing to see that actually you could see it in two different ways, and it was also very useful to see it. And it's really releasing as well. So it depends on the client, depends on the situation, but it's an experience.
Well, that all really resonates with me, because I've been traveling around the world so much. And I think when I was being raised as a Protestant Christian white male in America, I was, when I was younger, I really believed that there was a truth. And what I believed was right. And the more and more and more I've been exposed to other beautiful, amazing, joyous, happy people that actually had alternative truths, religious truths, spiritual truths, I just realized that, well, it is and it's and let me be open to the truth of this other person, and maybe learn and explore and see what fits with me. And then I learned 5 things from you. Maybe 2 things just don't resonate. Beautiful for you, not for me. But maybe there's 3, gifts that I can, put into my whatever bookshelf of making sense of the universe. And I've just been, really interested in snacking and tasting and sharing. And so it sounds like in your business, I'd like to go back, if you can, to the quantum hypnosis, I think you called it, because what it sounds like, and this is something that I do in my business coaching practice, is try to simplify things and make them more clear and therefore more productive. And it sounds like as you became an expert in regression therapy, you realized that going so deep is unnecessary, and so you developed actually a more practical approach. Can you go through the maybe not the practical approach itself, but the thinking of how did you develop a new method which is more effective, and then maybe other people can learn on their work, that maybe they overcomplicate, or they take too much time, and actually doing less can mean more value for your customer.
Okay. So the struggle was having the clinical hypnosis that has its origins in Freud and Erickson and all these other great masters of the 20th century and sometimes before. And so having this classical thing and this hypnosis that is based on that, to make people release trauma, heal phobias and panic attacks, that really works. And having this view of the universe from Bashar and Hester Hicks and looking at these two elements and saying, this has to work, it has to unite. I have to have an hypnosis session that can make this happen, because if the universe works like that, then I have to have a technique to do that. So that was my struggle here on one-to-one sessions throughout time and client and after client and after client. Then when I get to that, I get to the point where, I got it. Then I start developing the hypnosis modality, and now I've been evolving with it with different slightly techniques and stuff. But basically, it's just using your imagination. This is the resume of it. It's just using your imagination to picture yourself, Chris, in a successful, let's say successful, if that's relevant for you, in a successful situation. Let's say, this kind of visualizations that you have from the Secret, and, just picture yourself and have this board, vision board, and all these kind of things. Now imagine that I can create that in your mind through imagination, and you go deeper and deeper into this imagination, when it becomes so real, you are talking, you're close with your eyes closed and you are talking to me, but it becomes so real that you start feeling and you start vibrating on that reality. From that point on, through the rules of the universe, you have to start moving to that reality slowly. And your life starts changing. That's the premises of the mechanics of it. So it's helping you, become exactly what you are. Now, the paradox is that you will never imagine something that is irrelevant for your inner being. Meaning what? That this time, sometimes there are people that want things because they believe in their minds that that's what's best for them. I want that, and it becomes so mind-driven that your heart doesn't want to go there, and then it becomes blocked. So this way, with this quantum hypnosis, I can guarantee that if people sometimes want to imagine what they think it's best, and then sometimes the imagination starts putting the heart forward. And I had this kind of description, which is very funny too, but it's very relevant of the technique. It's people seeing themselves, like, for example, in white, and just saying like, well, I'm seeing myself in white, but I hate white. I'm seeing myself in a car. I hate this car, because they have it in their minds that they want to go there, but their heart's going somewhere else. So summing up, you can never go to be successful in any area if you don't have your essence and your heart connected to your motivation. I don't know if you agree with that as a business coach, or if this is the thing that you teach in your area. But for me, it's always about people want things, and I'm always trying to say, let's see what you feel, and if you really want to go there,
I believe I agree completely with you. I use different words, of course. One of my motivations over the years to create what is now called the simplicity scan, those 15 questions about a business, is essentially directly connected to what you just said. Because in my background and experiences, is if I'm involved with something that doesn't feel good, then I know it won't end well. And if I'm interpreting your words differently, so if I keep trying to force myself intellectually from obligation, other people's obligation upon me, wherever it's coming from, my own view of what I should be, but isn't myself, it isn't based on me, then it's not going to feel good. And so when I do coaching on the simplicity scan, they're very business oriented questions. However, when I do it one-on-one, I'm really looking for the person's emotion when they're writing it, because if it feels frustrated, difficult, painful, blocked, then you can ask, well, why are you trying to force yourself in that direction? if you take a step back, shake your head, drink a glass of water, what pops up that actually could be a different, maybe an additional or a different answer to that question. So, wow, cool. I am.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm disappointed because we are out of time. I'm really enjoying this already. Wow. It happens that fast. So everyone,
it was surprising for me too. Yeah.
If you can go to pedrofrias.pt for Portugal, you can find more about Pedro and his work. And thank you so much, Pedro, for joining Everyday Entrepreneurs Everywhere.
Thank you. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
Learn more at ebillion.com/podcast.